What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day today. Let's just dive right into our daily cryptocurrency content and analysis for today. We're going to be looking at several different coins, what the price movements are looking at over the next couple of days. Let's dive right into our different patterns as well. So let's go ahead and start it. So currently looking at this NAV chart, I'm going to start here because this is actually a prediction that was made on yesterday's Patreon trade alert. And I do want to address this one because it was a very nice cup and handle here. You can see there was the top of the cup right over here. We formed a cup base right down here. And then if you actually look here, there's the depth of the cup, the initial breakout right here on this left hand side, and then once again we saw that handle starting to form. It would be a little bit clearer if we actually pulled up a 3-hour, and you can see right over here, this is where the cup and this is where the handle formed, and then breakout occurred right over here. And if you guys are new here, we're going to be using several different indicators today. We're going to be utilizing the moving average exponential relative strength index, 3 moving averages, the volume, and then I'm going to be using the auto fib today. And it's an indicator that I haven't really used too often, but for those of you that are getting a little bit more advanced here on Sniper Soup, I think this will assist and help a lot of you guys to start understanding a little bit more of the complex indicators to help you advance your trading skills and understanding those patterns. So this is actually one of the patterns we actually predicted. If you guys are on our Sniper Soup trade alerts for our Patreons, the link is in the description for that. You can see we posted this yesterday and we saw this actual handle form, and then we saw this breakout happen today. So I still have my position in NAVCoin, being the fact that typically with a cup and handle, if you are on our Discord as well, this is actually a free resource available to all of you guys as well. You guys can actually go down here into Trading 101, and you can see with a cup and handle, there's typically a larger breakout after it passes this initial point of contact. So I'm expecting it to pop right past the end of this cup that was formed, and that's why I'm waiting for NAV. And this is really the first breakout that we're going to be talking about today. Heading into our next coin, TRX BTC. This is one everybody's talking about, obviously Tron. It's descending as we speak right now. However, if we actually pull up this 4-hour chart, you can actually see there's a pattern starting to form, and you see that the volume is starting to decrease. RSI is starting to get down to around that 30, and once RSI hits 30, it pretty much means it's oversold, and at that point prices will typically rise. You see up here where RSI is over 70, this is obviously a sign that this coin is overbought. Now looking at this consolidation, there really isn't a support level at this point just yet, and that's what I'm really waiting for in Tron. You know, I wasn't able to get my position in Tron after this run-up. When I saw this initial run-up, I just knew the fact that it had the run-up that I was pretty much late on that one, and I just didn't want to put in a position until I saw a pattern form, because once you see these breakouts, guys, it gets a little bit dangerous, and I want to highly I highly recommend that you guys are cautious with your trading when looking at breakouts like this to ensure that you're not making mistakes and losing a lot of money in that case. So you can see here, if we were to pull up this support level, looks like we're finding some clear support right around the 607 Satoshi level, slightly descending there, and I'm actually using the wicks to calculate this support level. If you guys watched our video today by Marcus, shout out to Marcus Coster, the only video so far on Sniper Soup with 0 dislikes. I love it. It's awesome. And you know, everybody's enjoying his content and he's enjoying making it. And once again, shout out to Foster. Thanks for, you know, contributing to the community, man. People love you, and I learned a lot from you too, man. When you did the Fibonacci video, man, you talked about the history, the present, the future. It was awesome, man. But anyways, so looking at this chart, guys, obviously we're descending at this point for Tron. At first, there was a pennant forming as these support levels are rising, and then we really saw the slip up right here once we had that South Korea news that came out recently with, you know, banning cryptocurrencies and such, and then that's really where we saw this this slight decline, and you saw the sell volume starting to increase. Buy volume is also increasing in some points, but for the most part, the total volume is decreasing, at least looking at this chart. Once again, if you guys look at different charts here, you'll see different volume levels. So, for example, if you pulled up the BTC USD chart on Binance versus Bittrex, you'd see a different volume level. So let's pull up Bitstamp. You see there's the volume for Bitstamp, but then BTC USD on Bitfinex, it's a little bit different. So some exchanges are drastically different. So my recommendation is trade where there's high volume, because that gives you more opportunities to make more money. There's typically more volatility in that case as well. And I mean, we're already looking at Bitcoin's chart, so we might as well talk about it, right? So Tron was descending. Bitcoin now. People are a little bit worried about Bitcoin. I do want to address Bitcoin because of the fact that I haven't really lost any hairs looking at the price levels at where they're at right now. I'm totally comfortable with where they're at. It's still within the channel that we predicted a couple weeks back once we corrected from this run up to that 50-day moving average on the 1 day. You can see we're right on top of that right now. So we actually calculated this and we released that statement today on Patreon to let you guys know a little bit of what my mindset has been with Bitcoin. We are starting to see this go horizontal, which is interesting because it's not something we've seen with Bitcoin in quite a while now. Bitcoin is typically known to have these parabolic run-ups, but I think because futures were released, we're really seeing the price starting to tame itself a little bit, not seeing these parabolic run-ups as much, and I think that's just going to get worse and worse as ETFs get implemented, as options get implemented. I think that's going to leverage a lot of institutional traders to really start holding down that price and making their money in their pockets rather than Main Street, which this is the first market, once again, that Main Street has come in before Wall Street. So this is an opportunity that we all have right now that we need to take advantage of. So with Bitcoin, I'm not too worried. At least we're still within this channel. You can see we're actually finding support right along this 50 days. So we're still within Fibonacci levels on top of the blue. But for the most part, what I'm focused on is that 50-day, which is in this red bar right here, which I'll actually make a little bit thicker for you. So that's the 50-day. That red bar, you can see we're finding literally support right on that 50 days. So if we were to pull up that 4-hour, you can see we're right on that 50-day, just back and forth, back and forth. So as long as Bitcoin can stay within these levels, its true support here is pretty much around 12,100, 12,200. It did see a pullback all the way down to 11,156 with this long candle wicks. However, it hasn't seen anything like that in the recent times. So I'm still very positive and optimistic about Bitcoin. If it starts to head below this level, I could start being a little bit more worried about the price levels, being the fact that when I purchased in, it was around the $12,500 level. That was my target price once I sold at this peak. And as you guys know, on Discord, I actually made an announcement about that. I don't know if any of you guys were there at the time, but that was one of the announcements I made. And then we saw this this correction right to that 50-day, and then now we're at those levels. Sorry, I got a little. All right. So pretty much looking at our next coin here, let's pull up Ripple. Everybody's talking about Ripple. I think it's going to be good to address Ripple here. We're finding some true support on the long-term chart here, right around 11,963 Satoshis. Right now, we're seeing this starting to descend a little bit. You can see you've got this little descending wedge forming right here. And it's getting a little bit tighter and tighter as it ends, it goes a little bit closer to its end point. And yesterday, if you guys were actually part of our night owl, we had a completely open night owl. It wasn't rubies and above. Tonight will be ruby and above for Patreon rubies and above, but last night it was completely open, and we actually had a Ripple developer on the night owl for about 4 hours. It was one of our longest night owls, one of the most interesting night owls for me, and it was more like a Q&A session with this Ripple developer that was developing for Ripple from 2013 to 2015. And if you guys are Sapphire Patreons, you guys are actually going to be getting that recording in different parts. I'm going to be putting it into part 1 and part 2 because it's such a long recording. There may need to be a part 3 to it as well. So I'll be releasing that tomorrow on the Patreon. So if you guys are Sapphire Patrons, you will be having that recording sent to you. But pretty much what he talked about with Ripple, he was in the development phase for Ripple, and somebody mentioned, they're like, are you going to tell us what he said, or only the Sapphires? And I'm going to release all the information to you guys. I always release information to you guys. Like the NAVCoin trade was actually made on a live stream, so you guys were all aware of that. The Sapphires are just getting a little bit more convenience with the recording. So I want you guys to be aware of that because of the fact that I'm putting in a little bit extra work. They're willing to put in a little bit more of an investment. So I'm willing to award that and reward that, and that's why they're getting that. What's cool about what he talked about yesterday, in my opinion, was the fact that as he worked there, he was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to really have interactions with individuals like Justin Sun, the founder of Tron. He also had interactions with the ex-CEO of Ripple, where now you have the ex-CEO of AOL managing and overseeing Ripple in operations. And you know, he said he really liked Chris Larsen is his name actually. So Chris Larsen is the ex-CEO of Ripple. I'll actually pull this up here for you guys and kind of give you a little synapse on what he talked about yesterday about Chris Larsen here. But Chris Larsen is a business executive and angel investor best known for co-founding several Silicon Valley technology startups, including one based on peer-to-peer lending. And that right there is Ripple. So he worked directly with Chris. He said Chris was an awesome guy, had a great vision for Ripple, and then, you know, eventually they did a restructuring and he wasn't, you know, a developer anymore there. But, you know, the insight he shared was really intriguing in the fact that, you know, he didn't share much confidential information, but he did share a lot of insight on how Ripple works, you know, how banks are utilizing Ripple, and how banks don't necessarily utilize, you know, they don't necessarily utilize the XRP token right now. You know, they're utilizing their system, their blockchain, to really make these transactions and almost imitate, you know, fiat currency transactions utilizing the blockchain, which is an interesting form. Like almost like he said, he mentioned this. He's like, it's almost like a transaction that goes from you know, USD to whatever, if it's Japanese yen, JPY, but on a blockchain. So it's represented on the blockchain as XRP USD, XRP JPY. And it was such an interesting phenomenon because I didn't understand that part of Ripple. And a lot of you guys were there. To be honest with you, he explained it in a way that is harder for me to explain because it was extremely complex. But the point was, you know, in terms of price predictions, you know, once again, you can never determine exact pricing, but he validated the fact, and this has been something that I've mentioned in the past, but Ripple has always stated that they're not really promoting XRP as a token to hold as a security or as a value, or storage of value, kind of like how Bitcoin is perceived, but it's more so a utility. It's something that they're utilizing. So they've always touted it as that. And in order for banks to utilize it, and this is something that he also confirmed, he said, verbatim, he said banks, they're looking for something that can easily be liquidatable, which means that it has to have a large market cap, but it also has to be low in value, and then very stable, right? So, and you see that with Ripple. You see the stability Ripple has seen. You see all of the stability. Now, in terms of his optimism for the actual token, that was a little bit surprising to me. And see, for me personally, I don't like to go to the news for information. I like to go to sources. I like to go to the actual sources. Based on his competency level, I can obviously tell, yeah, he did have interactions with Chris Larsen and Jason Sun, and did in fact, you know, work for Ripple. So that was verified. So now his opinion, that's kind of like the second aspect to that interaction I had, and all of you guys had along with us on Nanero. You know, he had a perspective that we couldn't have really had or created for ourselves. We couldn't create that perspective for ourselves because we never had that opportunity to be in his position. You know, we never worked for Ripple. So, or at least most of us haven't. Maybe some of you have. So I think it was interesting hearing that from a developer. You know, the optimism wasn't quite there in my opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that was really insightful for me personally as a long-term investor of Ripple. You know, utilizing this token. It's not necessarily a token that's supposed to act as a storage of value. So why act as if it is a storage of value, you know? So what I'm personally doing at this point, I've been doing some more research into Ripple. I'm looking more into the actual technicals of what the token is supposed to be utilized as and what the actual market cap will represent, as it does have a 99 billion 99 billion coin supply in max supply, which is quite a bit. So it's kind of like, is it reasonable for its price to be over $1 or over $1.50? I'm not saying it's not. That's why I'm still doing a little bit more of my due diligence to ensure I can come up with a true fundamental analysis of it, because he really shed some things on me that I really wasn't aware of, and I can't wait for some of you Sapphires to listen to that on the recording. So far though with Ripple, obviously we are descending right now. You can see here if we pull up our trading 101, pretty much looking like a bullish wedge in my opinion, being the fact that we saw this huge run up. So we saw this huge run up, and now we're seeing a little bit of consolidation. The lines here are converging with the resistance and support. What that means is the resistance is coming down while the support is also coming down. So it's almost like two magnets coming together, and that's the convergence. And that's kind of like you're squeezing a bottle of ketchup, and once you squeeze the bottle of ketchup, that typically leads to something that's a little bit messy, right? So it could be messy in a good way. So I expect prices to move up, being that Ripple has found support. We've never really seen Ripple so far have any major consolidations or corrections, in my opinion, because throughout its lifetime we've seen these huge run-ups and these huge run-ups, and we've never really seen something correcting with Ripple just yet. So if we pull up the 1 day, let's go ahead and see how far we are from that 50-day. I think it's cool that Ripple's finding a little bit of stability up here, because now we're allowing this 50-day to start catching up with the price levels, which is really assuring and comforting for an investor like me, looking at we're right around 40 to 45% away from that 50-day moving average, which isn't bad. We're giving it time. So the 50-day will move up as this price stays around these levels, because it's an average. So the average needs to make up for its previous prices in order to continue with the future averages. And that's why we're seeing this starting to come up slowly and slowly. The only concern I do have about Ripple is if you look at this EMA starting to lean in a little bit, it's still horizontal, which is good. That's why I haven't sold anything yet. However, you can see here, if we were to look at this in the 1 hour chart, it'll be a little bit clearer here. Let's go ahead and delete these lines. But you can see with this EMA, what you guys can sometimes do, for those of you that are also trading with the charts, you can actually use the EMA as almost like this pointer. So the EMA is right back here. We're right on top of it, so it's going to be hard to see this. But you see the EMA is right over here, and if you were to draw a pointer, it's currently pointing horizontally to the right, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion. At least it's not pointing down, right? So as it had this decline, it never really pointed straight down. It's continuing to really lean into that right-hand side, kind of like we've seen in the past with Ripple's pricing. So it's going to be interesting to see where Ripple starts heading. I think right now with where it's at, obviously there's some support levels, which is assuring as well. We're higher than the support levels. Now, being the fact that we are having this bullish wedge starting to form, I can expect some sort of breakout, whether it's positive or negative. Hopefully it can be another positive one, because you can see with this decline, we saw that positive breakout. It went really close to that support level though. So I would hopefully want to see this not go as close to the support level, this time just break out of this bullish wedge. So hopefully that helps out. I will be updating you guys with my position on Ripple as I do my analysis based upon the information I have just received. It's a little bit too new of an information for me. I don't like to make immediate decisions. I like to, give myself some time to really analyze and think through my decision making, especially when working with a certain amount of money. You definitely want to be careful with the types of dramatic actions that you will potentially make for yourself or take, because you don't just want to continue to buy and sell with any sort of portfolio. I think you want to make strategic buys and sells. You want to be able to plan out your buys and sells and all of your positions to ensure maximum profit potential. So we have Litecoin and IOTA, and then we're going to continue towards the live stream, and we're going to start taking some user requests. We're just doing this first portion for everybody watching this video before or after, I'm sorry, the live stream is already published. So looking at Litecoin, what we can see here, there are some clear support levels as shown here, right around 1.4 million Satoshis. Now, Litecoin has had this horizontal pattern for quite a bit now, and I think it's interesting because it's all within a channel. So for those of you swing trading, you could have made a lot of money in a channel like this if you were aware of the support and resistance levels. And once again, for those of you that are new, support levels are up here. It's where you see the price hits but doesn't go above. The resistance. The support levels are down here where the price hits but doesn't go below. And that's really, you can almost imagine it like a ball bouncing back and forth. So you drop a ball here, bounce, 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 and so forth. So obviously it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. But looking at this pattern, at first, this was a very predictable run up because it was forming a very clear pennant here. You can see we actually predicted this one on our Patreon as well. If you guys go on our Patreon trade alerts, once again, if you are receiving these trade alerts, if you go here, we did post this Litecoin pennant that was forming, and you can see now we have broken out of that officially. So hopefully some of you guys were able to take some profits from that. And some of you guys have asked about the Patreon, like, oh, well, where should I take profits and stuff? You guys, if you guys don't, here's what I say. If you guys don't currently know how to set up support and resistance levels and create channels, you honestly shouldn't be day trading or swing trading. And that's, not to be harsh, but just learn how to do that first. How are you going to learn that? Well, you can easily go on our Discord. You can look at these different patterns. That will teach you a lot. You can watch more of our live streams. And if you're watching this right now, I'll show you exactly how you can, because I'm willing to teach anybody and everybody. So when you're determining support and resistance levels, you're looking for clear patterns. Sometimes it's hard to determine it when you see a pattern like this, but you can see that if you truly drew this out, you can see there was a descending support level and a descending resistance level, right? So that's a form of it, but I wouldn't start with something as complex as that. I would look for something a little bit more stable, right? So looking at something like this right here, this one you can see here, very clear support and resistance levels right over here. So this could have easily been drawn out. You see, this is where prices were at the bottom of, and this is where prices were at the top. Support and resistance. You can just go on and just do this as much as you want. I mean, you can literally just go through charts, look for channels, and say, okay, let me draw this one out. Let me draw this one out. So I'm not going to say you're going to just do a whole channel support resistance tutorial, because it might annoy some of you guys, but we did break out of this pennant, right? Now we're seeing a little bit of consolidation, which is expected from this huge run up. What I'm looking to see is if these previous resistance levels, once again, another pattern here, these previous resistance, oh, by the way, this is an ascending triangle. Sorry, because the resistance levels are also not in a, you know, in a slant, because it's flat. That does represent ascending triangle. So I'm hoping we can find some support levels where we've previously found resistance, because if you find support levels where you previously found resistance, let me show you something really quick here. If we were to put up the Fibonacci here, you can see here, we're also going to be within these channels, and knowing that we're finding support within this top channel, which we are, because you can see we haven't really broken through. There's a minor, you know, convergence here where it does go into the blue, but for the most part, we're still within this red channel. It can really show you a lot because of the fact that the levels are stabilized within a specific indicator. So if you look at the 1 day, you can also see here, if we were to pull up the, let's see here, pull up that auto fib once again, just to get a little, oh, we don't have enough data. Okay, no problem. So obviously you can see here in the 1 day chart, it's a little bit of a clearer view of that breakout and what it's occurred. This could easily turn into a bull flag. I'm hoping this was the bottom, but being the fact that we've had these price levels for quite a while, we've seen this 50-day able to catch up to the price, which I'm happy about. You can see we're under 20% right now in terms of the price away from that 50-day, and that's a very healthy level in my opinion. You know, this was really the time to buy. You can see even with Litecoin, that 50-day support level is so important. You see it acted as support here for Litecoin. So very important level here, guys, and this is something that anybody here can just go on TradingView and see these indicators and be able to predict where prices are going to correct to or such forth. So interesting to see that here. So I think we're still within this channel for Litecoin. I think we should give it a little bit of room to grow. You know, I was able to really spot this ascending triangle at first, but other than that, right now, we're really waiting to see what pattern is going to form at this point. Is it going to continue to descend? Is it going to go back into this channel? Is it going to start going up? Is it going to break out? It's really up to Litecoin to determine that, but really the supply and demand. So let's move on to the next coin here, and the last coin before we start this live stream, guys. This is IOTA BTC. So we did a trade alert yesterday for IOTA ETH because I actually saw this right here, which is still really, it's pretty much still forming. You can see within this channel. We did that trade alert for all of you that are Patreons. Now, I'm still watching this. The reason I made a trade alert with IOTA ETH, there are several different reasons. If you pull up the 1 day here, you can see we're not only below the 50-day, but we're also very low upon that EMA. Now, what I noticed was you can start to see, sorry, I moved that. You can start to see this EMA starting to curve. So this was something I noticed yesterday. You can see here we have this EMA pointing down, which certainly went down, but now we're starting to see this curve around, right? So this was pointing down, now it's starting to kind of loop around. So I'm hoping what we'll see is kind of like what we saw with EOS, right? If you pull up the EOS chart, this is going to be a larger example, but you can see how this curved around. The EMA did the same exact thing. So the EMA at first was pointed down, and then you can see it starts to curve horizontal, finds that bottom, and then pops right up. So same exact thing with IOTA. This is the ETH chart. you know, being the fact that some people trade with ETH, I felt like it was an appropriate indicator to or trading alert to post. I'm going to be posting more altcoin indicators as well as some long-term holds, because remember, there's 3 types of investors: day traders, swing traders, and long-term investors. You have to know exactly what you are. If you're a day trader, you're trading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 times a day. I actually had a buddy of mine today post, you know, he actually just created a trading bot. Hopefully he doesn't mind me showing this. I don't think there's any crazy information on this, but pretty interesting here. You know, there's this trading bot here, and you know, he was actually having a little bit of fun with it. So I think that's pretty cool. Look at that. Little purchase and sell prices. I think that's really cool. So if you guys want to get on our Discord, you have tons of awesome people out there, miners, people that can set up bots and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend a trading bot for beginners because you can lose a lot of money. I think he's still working on the coding on that one, but shout out to him for doing that. I don't know if he wants to reveal his identity, but you know, we have some awesome people on our Discord, so highly recommend getting on there. So right now with IOTA, looking at the BTC chart here with Satoshis, this is a little bit more important in my opinion. You can see we're forming this ascending channel here. It's really wedging itself in there, getting a little bit narrower and narrower and tighter. Looking at the overall pattern, we've seen quite a bit of volatility. What really interests me is this huge piece of buy volume here, because if you look back here with this initial run up, you can see it kind of started the same way. We started seeing these big spurs of buy volume just kind of come out of nowhere, and it really led to this huge run up, really where we saw the majority of the buy volume right around here, November 28th, and now progressing into this. You can even see here, it's kind of like this huge ascending triangle is forming here as well. So if you really think about it, yeah, look at that. So that's really big ascending triangle that's forming here with IOTA. We haven't really seen much breakouts with IOTA. I'm going to show you guys really quick the formal chart here to give you guys a little bit of a different perspective of how the chart looks here. So looking at how an ascending triangle forms, you can see here pretty much have these top levels here. You see this support level ascending and then breakout occurs. Same thing here. This level is balanced, and then you have this ascending support level, and breakout is supposed to occur soon. So hopefully this could eventually pop out. We'll continue to watch this. I think this is a nicer viewpoint here, being the fact that you can see it in this large perspective that it's obviously about to break out. So other than that, guys, for those of you that are on the live stream, we're going to start the second portion to this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are just going to, you know, if you guys are watching this after the live stream is posted, thank you guys for watching the video. And let's go ahead and get started with the live stream. So who is online right now? Who do we got on? It looks like we got quite the crowd here. Wow. Look at that. We got a ton of people online right now. Let's see here. Let's do some requests. Let's take some questions. Let's do what we got to do. Somebody said, "What's up, Naeem? Paper and pen out. Let's do this." That is awesome, man. Free education, right? Gormoth said, "Yo, Felipe is in the house. Crypto Oasis, Eduardo T." I like that. Eduardo, all caps with 2 D's. That's an interesting Eduardo spelling. What's up, Coach K? In the house, man. I remember Coach K. Everybody's like TRX, 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 TRX. Did we not do Tron in this video? Was Tron in the title? Oh my gosh. Tron was in the title. Whoa. Rewind. Let's go ahead and look at Tron. I am so sorry. Let's do Tron really quick. So, looking at Tron, let's go ahead and see what is happening here. Remove this little annoyance. Looking at Tron right now, based on this chart, obviously you have these descending support levels. You can see here, support levels are really starting to drop down around this realm. Now, obviously everybody, for the most part, that's still holding Tron is down if they didn't buy it at low points. So I know a lot of people are worried about this coin on where it's headed over the next couple of days. So I do want to do a pretty clear technical here. Based on the Fibonacci levels, we've just broken into this blue level, which is an indicator that we're starting to head down. I think one of the biggest factors here with Tron is going to be this 50-day. I believe we're going to most likely correct to this 50-day, guys. You know, I know we've been optimistic about Tron as much as possible. We called out a couple breakouts that were potentially going to occur. but obviously that never happened. I don't feel like the market really played well to Tron's favor. You know, at this point right here, we saw these support levels starting to kind of ascend, and we were a little bit more optimistic there, but then kind of started to slide. You know, even one of my other friends that is a pretty, you know, skilled trader was expecting this to start, you know, curving back up, but it just never really happened. I think after that South Korean news that happened right around this time, you saw the price starting to slip, and then this is where we saw some buy volume, but it just never was able to hold up to that, and it started to really start slipping right around this right hand side. So looking at price levels right now, let's go ahead and pull up a little bit of a closer chart. I know we're talking about the 50-day on the 1 day, but looking at a chart like this, we can even draw these lines out a little more accurate. And then we'll also remove the Fibonacci because it doesn't really help with this type of graph. You can see here, by the way, Fibonacci should be used. I think my opinion is for Fibonacci, like if you were to add Fibonacci chart here, it's too sporadic to really get a clear viewpoint of what's happening. So I like to use Fibonacci when I'm looking at a little bit more of a distant chart, like a 1 day or a 5 day, depending on what I'm looking at, if it's a stock, if it's a crypto like this, and so forth. Now what's interesting about Tron is we're seeing a lot of buy volume now. We're starting to see volume increase, which I think is a good thing, but if you look here on the 1 hour, you can also see with the volume in total it's starting to decrease. So you can even use these indicators for the volume, right? So you can see here it's obviously descending. You see this line, if you're looking at these peaks of the volume bars, we're obviously descending here. Now looking at the RSI, we're low. We hit RSI 30 bottom, but we're still going under that. Price levels are dropping against what the RSI was showing. So to me, that's not a good sign, because that means that the RSI is almost negligent at this point. And when RSI is negligent, which basically means it's not acting upon its proposed, you know, its proposed algorithmic patterns, then, and what that means is, you know, it's supposed to be the bottom here, but it's not. That typically means something has, you know, much higher of a speculative value than any sort of intrinsic value or legitimate arithmetic value, because there's no sort of justification of this price. And if you look here, it's such an early coin, we're right about 50% away from hitting back at that 50-day. So looking at the 1 day, RSI is still high. We haven't seen these low levels of RSI on the 1 day. You know, quite bearish for the short term at this point for Tron, unless we can see a pattern form. What I mean by that is, you know, not to bust your bubbles, guys, but if we can see some sort of pattern for Tron that indicates a reversal, right? Maybe we see this negative trend here break itself, right? That's one possibility. Maybe if we start seeing more of a curve starting to occur, maybe if we even see this price level kind of lean to the right and a little bit more horizontal, I think that would also be good for Tron, because if the price level can do that, what that's going to do is it's going to give that 1 day, this 50-day moving average, a little bit of time to start catching up to this price level to justify the price. So if you're writing notes down, and I know we're kind of doing a hybrid now of a live stream and a you know, a video, but if you're writing notes down, this is what I would say. You need to make sure that current price levels are justifiable. Write that down and underline the word justifiable, if that's a word. But it has to be, there has to be some sort of justification to that price, right? If you can't justify a price, then you can't necessarily say that that's the actual price of that proposed asset class, right? Or that commodity. So in the stock market, what I'll show you guys here, for example, I think this helped a lot of people yesterday in our night owl. So if we pull up the Apple stock, look at this. If you pull up the 1 day chart here on the Apple stock, look at this 50-day moving average. Do you guys see how it sticks to the price levels? You don't see that in crypto. You see how this 50-day moving average, it sticks with the price. There's never been a time here that it's really wavered too far away from this 50-day. And this is what happens when you have institutional traders in the market, when you have you know, a lot more you have a higher volume. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for this, and this is where cryptocurrency will eventually head. There's no way it'll continue to be as volatile as as it is. And if you think it is, then I'd love to hear, you know, your perspective on that in our Night Owl tonight. If you guys don't know, by the way, our Night Owl is going to be open to our Ruby and above Patreons tonight, and we're going to be under Ruby Plus right here. So we're going to be discussing a little bit more about that Ripple situation that occurred yesterday. Talk a little bit about what we think. We actually now have this new channel here for our analyst Rick Tupon, because he was actually, you know, he's the guy that actually used to work for Ripple, so he's actually one of our analysts now, which is awesome. So maybe he'll come in and chime in once again, and maybe some of you guys can ask some questions in the Night Owl. So once again, you know, this is just Apple. Let's go ahead and get away from this. So with TRX, I'm looking to see, can we get back to this 50-day? If we can get back to this 50-day, then I think I'd be a little bit more bullish on Tron. But at this point, all indicators are showing a downtrend, and not only that, the market is just not acting to its favor. So what do you guys think about that? Let's hear you guys. What do you guys think? Thank you for the super chats, by the way. So let's go ahead and go full on user interaction. Chris Perkins, hey Naeem, can you talk to us about mentally staying positive and also trying to be profitable in a market like we have seen the last few days? 100%. That's a good topic. Here's what I'll tell you. In order to stay optimistic in a market like this, you have to be able to hold on to the coins that, number one, you might be down on, but number two, that you may not have gotten the best position in. And what I mean by that is sometimes we get ourselves into a situation where we buy coins at high levels, prices start to decline, and we start worrying that we've lost our money. And I think people focus too much on their current assets valuation rather than the future valuation of what that asset can be worth. So one benefit of trading in a market that we're seeing today, if we pull up the coin market cap right now, you can obviously see here there has been quite the decline. You know, so when we predicted this NAVCoin breakout for the Patreons, I was like, man, that's awesome. The fact that you see all this red in the market, but we were able to, you know, you see all this red, but then you go to NAV, the one we called out yesterday on our trade alert, and we're 11.48% up on Satoshi value, or 9.43 on USD value. So, you know, I think there's still some optimism. And you know what? That's a perfect example of how to stay optimistic. So yesterday we went through a lot of charts. NAV was one of the last charts we looked at, but it was one of the strongest patterns that we saw. It was a clear cup and handle. You can even see the cup here if you really look at it. So that's how you stay optimistic, right? You stay optimistic by seeking more opportunity. You know, so most people that work 9 to 5 that are really, you know, unhappy with their life, it's because of the fact that they've lost out of all potential future opportunities, right? So you have to be able to ignite yourself by allowing yourself to be open to new opportunities. And the way you do that is, number one, instead of just looking at 1 or 2 or 10 coins, start looking at 15, 16, 17 different coins that you can constantly peek back on, because you have a higher potential of reading a chart that can potentially have a breakout. And if you pull up NAV, I'll show you really quick here. Pulling up the 1 day, you can see we were with this 100-day and this 50-day moving average. If we pull up this ruler, you can see at the current price levels are about 53% off, right? And we talked about this yesterday. So at that level, we were 53% off, but at one point in this coin's history, you can see it was 242% up. So that shows me that there's obviously room for this coin to grow because it's had these parabolic run-ups. Now, this coin is under 300 million in market cap, and that's why we see more volatility, less volume. But when you're looking at bigger coins, like let's pull up ETH BTC, for example, you can see we're heading towards these higher levels. And when heading towards these higher levels, you start really getting cautious on, is this going to be the best time to buy? Is it going to continue to go up, or is it going to go down? So being optimistic is all about finding opportunity. And sometimes opportunity doesn't look like this. It looks like this, right? This is what opportunity looks like to a trader, not like this, right? So don't look for this, look for this, because then this will happen. So wouldn't you guys want to buy here and then have all this in gains? Yes or no? Yes or no? Let's see. Camran said, big up, Naeem. Guitar Board said, dent. Somebody said, let's see, put your money in Litecoin. Mana. Optimistic. Somebody said yes. Dylan Ward said yes. Somebody said, hey, Nami, can you please get Genesis Vision? Is that a coin? Heard it here first. Buy more Tron. Hell yeah. Somebody said, bro. Thomas Jamison. Dent. FUN. Please do singles. I've never heard of that coin. Let's see here. Thoughts on Electronium. Let's see. Hanya said yes. Sith Rocker said yes. That is awesome. So who else is here today? Somebody says, your student say yes. Great night owl last night. Absolutely, Ryan Kuhn. Glad you were there, man. Stellar Lumens, somebody said. Yes. Those are all coins that we can look at today. Somebody said, please look at ICX. We got to look at Icon, shouldn't we? Dylan Ward is in the house. O'Sullivan. Bitcoin Baker. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these requests here. We do have some super chats. So hopefully that helped out a little bit, Mr. Perkins. Thank you so much for that. And then Mr. Claude. Always got the great questions. Hi, Naeem. Thank you for all of your good work. I'd like to know more about reading the details box. Buy, sell, walls, etc. on TradingView. So I am hoping that you're talking about the, what do you mean by the details box? Are you referring to, I'm trying to think of what you're referring to. There's a lot of details boxes in my opinion. Are you referring to, I mean, you said buy/sell walls. So are you talking more about an exchange? Because that's kind of like what I'm getting from that. So if we were to open up Bittrex, for example, or even GDAX, right? Or let's just open up Bittrex. Go ahead and log in here. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and put my codes in here and log into our Bittrex account. So buy and sell walls are good ways to really determine where price levels are heading in the immediate time, right? Some people try to use that for 1 hour analysis, 1 day analysis, but I think it's more so for immediate analysis because it's really showing you the immediate supply and demand, right? It's not necessarily showing you the long-term supply and demand. So when looking at the buy and the sell box, so pretty much the buy and the sell wall occurs inside of the order book, and I'll kind of show you a little bit of how that looks right now in just a second as soon as this thing can log in. But inside of the order book, you'll see that there's going to be buy and sell orders that are available. All right, so now that we're in, we'll pull up this market here, and we'll pull up coin here. So which coin should we pull up? We can do Verge. So this is Bittrex, which I'm going to use as an example. So to look at the buy and the sell walls, hopefully this has the order book in a way that you can see it clearly. Oh yeah, it should. So this right here is a buy wall. What is a buy wall? So when looking at a buy wall, this pretty much means at this point there's obviously a lot more demand in the immediate time, right? This is now. There's a lot more buy orders here than there are any sell orders. The sell orders are a little bit more gradual. You see, it's a little bit more of this, like, it's almost like Ripple's chart back in June, right? But with the buy orders, you can see this is a buy wall right here. It's literally a wall of buy orders. That means at this price level, there's a lot more demand than at these price levels. And then you can compare that to the sell volume. So this can really indicate to you that, okay, if there's that much buy volume, if this is all bought, like if the price hits this level, all this is going to be bought, prices will obviously go up. Why? Because prices are all based upon supply and demand. So you don't necessarily have to always look at an exchange. In my opinion, if we're pulling up the XVG chart, you can see here that you can also look at the volume, right? So the volume is also an indicator of buying and selling, and obviously the green is for buys, the red is for sales, and you can see there's a decline in volume. However, if you were to match this up with this order book, you can see there's probably going to be a little bit more buying than there's going to be selling. So the next bar that occurs is going to be a green bar. So that's why you see this right here. There's a green bar starting to form. That means there's more buying volume, right? And then other coins will look different. Let's pull up Quantum, for example. So Quantum, or Bitcoin Gold, whichever one pulls up, there you go. You can see here with Bitcoin Gold, you can see it's a lot different. It's a little bit more equalized here. There's not as much of a difference here. I mean, this is a little bit more, I guess you can say it's a more stable trend up. This one's a little bit more blocky. This one looks to have a little bit more volume than here. You can see even here there's a little bit of blockage. This will consistently change. So if you watch this, it's almost like a live chart. You can see it's continuously changing. You can change the price range as well. So in my opinion, for you, Claude, hopefully this is helping out. But these are definitely good indicators. You can see, look at that, sell volume is starting to increase quite dramatically around these levels. So when you hear somebody say, oh man, it has such a huge buy wall, that's why they're saying that. So if we were to pull up the BTG USD chart, you can see here we have that red. Let's pull up the 1 hour. Let's pull up the 1 minute. Starting to see green. So that's an indicator that there's more buy volume, which there is more buy volume in this immediate area. You can see this is being eat up more than this right now. You can see how thin this sell volume is here. So there's a little bit of a wall there too. So hopefully this helped out. Somebody said TRX is dying and they have more bad news coming in. Jorge, good to have you guys. So what's the next coin, guys? Let's look at this. Tom Ashley said, let's touch on last night's X Ripple guy. Haven't been excited for XRP and XLM long term. He affirmed this was great insight. Vibe has me aroused. I don't know if you should be aroused by a coin, but I guess if that's your niche, then that's fine. I'm just messing with you. So yeah, you know, I touched on it a little bit earlier, Tom. What I'll say about what occurred yesterday, you know, I'll be releasing that to all the sapphires, but in my opinion, you know, it was just one opinion. You know, yeah, he's obviously very credible, but for me personally, when I hear stuff like that, that is almost challenging my current beliefs, I like to do more due diligence, and I keep an open mind when doing so. So for me personally, it did change a lot about how I saw Ripple, being the fact that I now have a better understanding that, you know, the token itself is a utility token. It's not necessarily meant to store value. And to be quite frank with you, it won't really be too efficient if it was at a higher value. It would be better for Ripple, the XRP token, to be at a lower value for the banks to utilize it in a more appropriate manner, being that it can be liquidated in a much, it's going to be easier to liquidate, right? So, you know, I think Ripple has been known to stay around that 25 cent range, and I think at the time, you know, it was being utilized quite well. They were utilizing the RippleNet, but I think based on what we heard last night, I think it really, for me, it added a new perspective. It kind of opened up my peripheral vision, and it's given me a little bit more of, you know, some things to really look into regarding Ripple's future and the technology that it's supposed to be versus what people want it to be, right? So people want it to be this coin that's just really low in price and that everybody should invest in, but at the end of the day, it's a utility token that's being utilized for banks to be able to streamline their transactions, right? So I'll be releasing that, Tom, and we can talk more about it. I think it was interesting to just have everybody there last night. I think it was such a fun time. I think you know, we all learned a lot last night from that. So thank you so much, Bitcoin Banker, for the super chat. Goramaroth said, BAT is forming a beautiful cup and handle with good volume on the one-day chart. Any thoughts? So let's go ahead and by the way, for Vibe, we'll do a double chart here really quick. We'll do Vibe and BAT here. Basic attention token. I like basic attention token, you know. I made a couple trades with that coin. If you guys don't know about basic attention token, I'd definitely look into it. Really good ICO. Looking at the charts though, let's focus on the technicals here. That's what you guys are here for. You can see with Vibe, there are some clear support levels here. Looking at the 1 hour, right around 9,257 satoshis. So right here, we're going to see this price go up right now, being that we just hit that support level. So we can expect that to certainly go up. Being that, let's see how far we are from that 1-day moving average. Once again, it doesn't show. There's not enough data here. So we'll go back to a 15-minute now and see a little bit of a clearer viewpoint here. So very clear support levels. Look at that. This is what I like to see, guys. I like to see these support levels that are extremely clear here. You can see that it touches that line and it goes up every time. So this, I'm expecting this to go up as well. We may start seeing some resistance at these previous resistance levels of 10,183 satoshis. And you can see we're going to continue to go up here. And this is a perfect swing trade, or even a day trade. Look at that. That's a perfect day trade right here. That's why channels are so important. Understanding those support levels. Look, bounce. That's a lot of money that could be made right there. So especially if you're investing a certain amount, you can make a lot. So McCube UT said, could you do Vibe, please? Well, this is the short term so far for Vibe. There's obviously a potential opportunity there. But looking at more of like the swing traders perspective, let's do a little bit more of a open chart here to see. I like that we're forming these support levels. I think this is what I would be looking for. Obviously, we saw this consolidation here. We saw this kind of correct itself. Never really passing this point of around 12,065 satoshis. We did see some of the wicks pass right around 13,170, but we didn't see some clear levels there. Now, as this channel starts to form, I think if we can continue to watch this channel and see it go horizontal, I think that would be really good for Vibe, being the fact that it's really at these low levels compared to where it was previously. You can see it really was around 31,000 satoshis, went down to around 22,000, found support right around 10,000, 11,000, and now we're only at the $9,000 range. So I like what I'm seeing here. The other thing I really like about this chart is this huge buy wall that just came out of nowhere. This right here is an optimistic indicator. And the reason I say it's optimistic to me, it's because it's institutional traders, right? So institutional traders that have a lot of money will come into the market and they will purchase a large volume of coins that they want to purchase, right? So for me, what I'm seeing here is institutional, somebody institutional, you know, sometimes we call them a whale, right? They purchase a large amount and they don't sell it, but immediately after, you have retail investors that get excited because maybe they bought around this range and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm at a profit, let me sell. And you see a minor sell-off, but then it ends up finding its support. So being that our levels, our price levels are back to pretty much where the institutional traders bought their levels at. Like the institutional traders were able to buy it right around 8,000 satoshis. It's only at 9,700, only 1,000 satoshis up, where up here it was around 31,000. So I like the fact that it is what, you know, it's doing what it's doing. I would post this as a trade alert, but I feel like the best buying price was down here, not up here, because even up here can be a little bit riskier than down here. I truly like to make sure I can get the best possible opportunity, because there's opportunities every day in this market. You don't have to take every opportunity, but you know, in terms of buying this right now at these price levels, I would say it's a little bit more of a debatable thing to do, being the fact that the real buy level is down here. So hopefully that helps. Somebody said Vibe is breaking out as he speaks. Yes, look at that, it is breaking out, that's for sure, because it bumped off of that support level. So somebody said no clear definition of market manipulation. Well, not necessarily. I think it's fine. So this, in my opinion, is, look, you don't see any sort of buy volume that was as high as this, or I'm sorry, sell volume that was as high as this buy volume. To me, that's an indicator that these were retail investors that were selling, but the institutional money is still in the coin. So sometimes it's good to have that price manipulation, right? Because then it can stabilize the top of that coin, and then you know, they'll eventually sell when they feel it's appropriate and they're at a profit high enough to do that. So hopefully that helps out. What's up, Chris Fist? Good to have you, man. Somebody said South Florida minor child. David, what indicators are you using on TradingView? I'm using these indicators right here: the volume, EMA, the triple moving average, the 50-day, the 100-day, and the 200-day, and then the volume. Somebody said Pembroke Pines, Florida. Are you just shouting out where you're from, guys? Harold E. Arguello. Neil said, I'm not a sniper, I'm a hustler. That's awesome. Everybody's saying VEN, VEN, VEN. If you guys want to do VEN, if you guys want to do VEN, XRP, BAT, or Factum, then let's take a quick vote. Like this video if you guys want to do any of those coins. If you don't want to do those coins and you want to do a different coin, like this video and then comment the coin in the chat. Let's see what we got here. So we're currently at about 100. Let's see if we can shoot up. Oh, wow. Look at that. Okay, let me write some of this stuff down. Somebody said VEN, KIN, XLM. Oh, wow. Wow. We just went from like 100. We're only at 154, 172. So I guess you guys don't want to do VEN. So I guess, what do you guys want to do then? Let's see. XLM, FUN, DGB, Digibyte. That's a good one. IOTA. That's a fun one. So he said Tron, LTC. I think we've done a lot of these already. So I don't mind doing Neo. Neo broke out today. Hopefully you didn't buy at the breakout, right? Let's go ahead and finish BAT here. And then we'll also do, let's look at the super chat here. Oh, somebody said I'm seeing a lot of Neo. We'll take more. All right, we'll do CAN here. Somebody said CAN. Miguel Valencia said CAN. So we'll do CAN here. Surprise. Oh, they got it on Bittrex now. Cannabis coin is on Bittrex. Interesting. That is cool. So let me see why this is on Bittrex, because Bittrex doesn't typically just add coins like that, and it looks like it's only on Bittrex, which is interesting to me. Wow, that's pretty cool. They got their coin on Bittrex and they're ranked number 446, guys. That could be, well, look at that. It already pumped. Ah, come on. Why you gotta pump, man? Why do you gotta go up so high? Look at that. Doesn't mean it won't go up higher, but you know, it's kind of looking like that Tron chart right now. But 92% of the volume is on Bittrex, which is interesting. Huge buy volume does not indicate institutional buying. That kind of spike is Joe Beergot waving his 100 bucks. Joe Beergot, what are you talking about? It doesn't, you know, it could be just somebody that has a large amount of money. Volume, though, is an indicator of a large buy. You know, that's definitely what a volume, I mean, that's what it shows. It's a volume, how much, right? So, other than that, you mentioned 8 to 10 months institutional influence coming into the market. Details why that time frame and not sooner. I don't think ETFs and options will come sooner, Kevin. So I think once we see ETFs and options, I think that's when we'll really see more confidence, because ETFs and options will stabilize the market even more as, you know, it continues to add more value to the marketplace. You know, futures markets are typically larger than the actual commodity market. So like gold futures are larger than gold itself. Gold, I think, is around 7 trillion now, and then the futures market is a lot higher than that. So I think as that happens, then we'll see something. Your predictions is that after 8 to 10 months, it will be much harder to make money. Pedro Nieves. Yeah, 100%. Because when institutional traders come in, guys, look what happens. This is typically what happens, right? So we can pull up any chart. Let's pull up Tesla. Tesla. Look at this. Yes, there's volatility, but at the same time, look how close we are to that moving average, which means that we're pretty much sticking to the price point. You can see Tesla is a little bit more volatile than most on the stocks, but you can see here how it's a lot harder to, like, there's not as many patterns, you know? It's kind of just going either up or down. You don't see any sort of like where are the cup and handles, right? Where are the, so patterns, by the way, are not meant for this. patterns were made, when indicators and patterns were made, it was made in the 90s, not in the 90s, but it was made in the 1900s. And when the market was extremely volatile, that's really where it worked. But now, you know, you don't really get to see it work as much here because this isn't volatile, guys. I mean, you know, there's no real patterns compared to a coin like what we're looking at right now, which is, let's do, you know, the can coin, whatever. Let's pull up this one right here. So this one right here, so you see how it's just a lot more volatile. Like if you pull up this 1 day, you can see here there's so many more opportunities to, you know, predict patterns and predict price movements, and so forth. So let me get out of this chart here. So we'll do the can coin here really quick. I was just interested to see why it was on that exchange. Let me clear up a little bit of these top tabs here. So looking at cannabis coin, looks to be around a $17 million market cap, but it's already on Bittrex, which is surprising to me. The cannabis coin is a peer-to-peer currency for the cannabis community, instant real payments, dispensary tested. Okay, interesting. So I'm guessing it's just been around for a while. That's probably why, or some sort. You know, it looks like it has been around for quite a bit. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's been around since 2015. So it's just now seeing traction. I don't know how I feel about this. You know, it kind of looks like how Doggy Coin was, right? Because it was around for so long. That's why it's on Bittrex. That makes more sense. So typically when coins are around that long, Bittrex has been around too, so they had their coin up. Kind of looks like Doggy Coin, where, you know, it's been around since 2014 and you see it finally start to catch volume. Where at these levels, I mean, it was only seeing, like, look, at this day it was 60,000 in volume, and then here you're seeing 68 million in volume. So quite the difference there, right? So looking at the technical though here, let's go ahead and see what we're finding. It still can certainly create some sort of pattern, right? There's obviously an ascending support level, which isn't bad. Looks like it's forming a pennant quite clearly, which is really good. So this may have a breakout, guys. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty clear pennant here, guys. This is a very clear pennant. Let me see if there's a Wix here that can confirm this. Yep, look at that. So that does, yep, every support level is hit, so, or every resistance is hit. And then if you pull up Trading 101, for those of you that haven't seen a pennant, you can see it's where these lines converge together, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So this could potentially be a breakout. I may actually post this here on trade alerts. You know, I know some people want some of these smaller coins, and let me pull up the 1 day though really quick here, because that could change some things. Okay, I don't mind us being that far away. It doesn't look like it's too far. Right now, right under 50%. If we pull up past levels of when it went away from that 50-day, I'd like to see where we head, or where we went to. Let's go ahead and pull this up in a large chart here. Wow, for some reason this doesn't work well. Let's do a 4-hour. Okay, so in this run up we were about 250% up. So yeah, I like this. There are good indicators. There's also some bad indicators, but you know, there's also some good indicators. There's obviously a pennant forming. The one bad thing I would say is the fact that we're pretty far from that 50-day. I typically like to buy at the 50-day, but if we're forming a pattern, it could change things. EMA doesn't look too bad either. It looks like we're starting to head right there on the EMA to eventually go above the EMA. So I'm pretty optimistic about this. You see these huge buy, you know, these buy orders, but you haven't seen much people sell yet. So I like that. There's not much sell volume. There's a lot more buy volume, and it looks like volume just continues to come in. Matter of fact, you don't see any large sell volume, because look, even back here there was some big buy graphs here, and it just continues to go like that. So I think that's interesting. That's awesome. Yeah, I think I'll post this one on the trade alerts. I like it. You know, I like how this chart looks. I like the volume. So here's what if you're writing down notes, this is what you want. So remember we talked about justification, right? So there are certain things that will justify a trade, and there's certain things that won't. Now, in a trade like this, the reason I can justify this for myself, and I wouldn't mind putting a position, matter of fact, I'll probably put in a position right now on the live stream, because I put my money where my mouth is. I don't just say, hey, I'm going to make a trade alert. No, I'll buy, you know, I'll buy it and then I'll trade it. We'll do point. I usually use Binance, but I got some extra Bitcoin here, so I'll do 0.01. And I think what I'll do, I'll probably set a buy target. Let's see. We'll probably do, if I were to buy this coin, I would probably say, let's see here. I like the levels that we're at right now. Let's do a 3-minute really quick. So you can see we're at these lower levels. But it looks like we can get a little bit lower, right? So your goal is to, let's see, like, where's your discount, right? For those of you that like to get discounts, this is your chance to get a discount. So it looks like we're finding some real support right around that level. Let me zoom in a little bit to confirm that. So when I'm buying a coin, I'm looking for where was the pattern form. So it looks like even here we went a little bit lower. Just want to be a little bit more specific about the support level. And if you look here as well, it looks like we're pretty much, we've touched it. To be honest, I don't mind buying the way it's at right now because it looks like it's on its way up. So I'm just going to take the next best order and put that order in. So not a big order, but 595 can coins. Just a quick trade just to show you guys the way, you know, I go about buying. You know, I'm not using my my Binance right now where I have more of my holdings, but hopefully this is a good trade, you know. Looks good. I like the indicators. I like the only thing I didn't like was that 50-day, but it wasn't bad, you know, compared to where it could have been. And this could be a quick swing trade, you know. So we'll go ahead and save that here. All right, awesome. So let's move on, and we'll continue to watch this as time progresses, guys. So Gary Vaught said, cryptocurrency is a drug. I'm addicted and it's affecting my life. What would be interesting is, you know, if they were actually able to use this can coin, like, because I don't know what the actual fundamentals are about it, but, you know, if it's an actual coin that can be used, I had an individual message me the other day that owned a dispensary and said, hey man, do you know what coins I could use for my dispensary? So if they for somehow, like, if they have a utility token that makes it a lot, like it solves an issue in the cannabis industry, I think that would be great, because I know a lot of states that are, you know, about to legalize it, but I don't know if that's the coin, right? Because it's been around the longest, but it's just called can coin. Maybe it's just a name, right? We don't know what does their GitHub look like, you know, what does their coding look like, what type of developers they have. That's stuff that I'm gonna be looking for. But based on the technical, I don't mind putting in an order. I don't need much fundamentals right now for this swing trade. Now it's safer. You can see it's starting to break out. It's safer to have those set in place. Okay, this is not buying. Give me a break. Come on. Come on, man. Let's do this. So, I'll pay a little bit of a premium. I don't mind. Let's get that. There you go. Buy order filled. Sometimes you gotta pay a premium, right? So, so we'll see what happens here. The cool thing about it is I can easily set up my alert right down here, and if I need to sell, I'll sell. So there's a very clear support level, so I'll just do it right under the support, because it doesn't even look like the wicks have went under that. So if I need to sell, I'll sell. We'll put that money towards something else, right? So there's that, and let's go on to the next request, guys. By the way, for those of you that are come into our night owl tonight. It's going to be Patreon rubies and above. If you're not a patron, the link is in the description. We actually have trade alerts, sapphires, get the podcast recordings of all our night owls. So I'm going to be posting a 3-part series that we had a Ripple developer on last night, and he went through a ton of stuff in Ripple. He was working there from 2013 to 2015. That's going to go to all Sapphire Patreons. We also have Emerald and Diamond level, so the link is in the description for that if you guys want the trade alerts, if you guys want our weekly newsletters, if you guys want to get into our VIP Ruby Night Owls. So tonight, our Night Owl is going to be under Patreon exclusive. You see we already got a couple people there already, and that's under Ruby Plus. So this is where we'll get a little bit more in depth. You guys can plug in your microphone, and then I highly encourage you guys to get on our Discord as well. So that's in the description. Those 2 links are extremely important for those of you that are looking to learn and understand this market and get yourself in the best position to make as much profits. Oh, by the way, today, look at this. If you go here, so this guy right here said, if you load these comments, so pretty cool success stories, right? Somebody said here, thank you so much, bro. Made $700 out of this little advice. And then this guy right here on Litecoin said, brother Naeem, thanks for this trade. I made $2,000 with your call. Thanks a lot. So obviously some people are enjoying Patreon. And I think the Ripple Sapphire recording is really going to help a lot of people as well. Especially one of our patrons, you know, I don't want to name her right now, but you know, she recommended this one ICO to me that Ray Dalio's team is actually working on, and it's actually called Omega 1, and it's an ICO that I'm looking at. I may end up doing an ICO review on this because I'm really liking the vision for this ICO, and the Ripple developer actually liked this ICO too. So that was in the recording yesterday. I showed him this, and he was like, this is awesome, because he read the white paper, and he was like, this solves a lot of the problems that a lot of coins have, and it looks like these people know what they're doing. So if you look at the ICO paper, you can even see here Bridgewater Currencies and Macro Research. So Bridgewater is one of the largest hedge funds in the world, run by Ray Dalio, who wrote the book Principles, which is actually on our recommended reading list here under our Discord Helpful Reads, one of my favorite books. So highly recommend that book. And looking into this ICO, it just looks really good. It looks like they have this planned out. I like this type of ICO. The team is there, and once again, I have those 3 criteria that I look for. The team, does it solve a problem? Is it ready for mass adoption? So, and if it's not ready for it, how long is it going to take to really get into that position for mass adoption? So hopefully that will help out. So let's look at some stuff here. Somebody said, can you check out Lenovo? I've never heard of Lenovo. Interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody said Omega 1 sounds good. Yeah, I still have to do my research, so give me some time to do some due diligence. I'll post a video on it. There's no set release date just yet for it. So shout out to Bryant St. Clair and our mods doing some good stuff. Claude said Tokes is geared towards the cannabis industry with actual usage, from what I understand. Nice. I like that, Claude. Thank you for mentioning that. Somebody said the reason there's so many cannabis pot coins is at the moment they cannot trade via banks. Everything needs to be done via cash. Yeah, so the federal government is considering marijuana illegal, while state governments like Colorado consider it legal, and because of that, there's this you know, there's this gap between the banks and these cannabis shops that sell marijuana, and it kind of hinders them from really it's a huge safety issue in my opinion, because carrying cash is kind of dangerous. You know, it's kind of like carrying your Bitcoin in an open wallet and an exchange, just holding all of your Bitcoin in the exchange, you know. And these marijuana dispensaries, they make tons of money. I mean, you know, not that they make tons of money, but they're handling a lot of money. You know, they make money, every business makes money, but they handle a lot of money. So it's interesting. What's up, Zimbis? Good to have you on the live stream. So shout out to some of our new Patreons, guys. Ben David Saver, shout out to Tyler Eris, you'll be getting your trade alerts. Shout out to YL Jaber, you'll be getting that Sapphire recording. Emma Thomas, shout out to Emma, good to have you on our Patreon. Felipe, you gold. John Paternosto, good to have you, man. You'll be getting the trade alerts. Richard Bake, Gregor, Siddharth Kumar, good to have you guys. Harsh Bawarni just became a new Sapphire, so you'll be listening to that Ripple stuff. Jake Baker. That's awesome. Good to have you, Jake. You get those trade alerts. Jonathan as well, and then Chris Yoder just became a Ruby. So I'll see you, Chris, tonight under our Discord Patreon exclusive Ruby Plus Night Owl. We're gonna start taking up these requests, guys. Let's finish up some requests here. Let's do a quick request. Let's do a quick round of requests here. We'll do a double chart and just knock a ton of them out at the same time. Let's finish up BAT right here. So looking at BAT, basic attention token. Let's go ahead and see how this baby looks based on this graph. BAT BTC. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Wow, look at that. Well, this may be a good time to buy, huh? Let's go ahead and see if there's another chart that has a little bit more history, because that can give us a little bit more of a better perspective. Okay, there you go. That looks a lot better. I don't know about this one. Maybe a reversal imminent in the near future. Reason I say that is, or maybe that's not a cup and handle. So there's a reason this isn't a cup and handle. The reason this isn't a cup and handle is because if you go to a cup and handle and you look at the cup and handle, you have to see this initial run up. This is very important because this is what determines the demand level. If this isn't occurring, that demand level is not necessarily there. You can see both of these images of cup and handles. These are two different images. They have these huge run-ups. By the way, guys, we actually have our new trading charts almost done. They will be released tomorrow at 12 p.m. on our Discord. Just to give you guys a quick peek at this, check this out. Are you guys excited? Look at that. Doesn't that look cool? That's going to be all on our Discord resources tomorrow, guys. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. Like we have some professional designers working on that. But anyways, somebody said ETH has a cup and handle. Let's see. Somebody said you scared me when you said my name, homie. Jake Baker. That's funny, man. I hope I didn't scare anybody. So you mean to tell me if I subscribe to some trade alerts, I will make some money? No. And the reason I say that is because of this. I was talking to one of our analysts today, and I was like, dude, because, they were telling me, I feel kind of pressured with these graphs and stuff. I said, listen, buddy. I said, it's not about if you predicted the price right. It's about how well you read the chart. I want you guys to write that down right now. It's not about whether or not you predicted the price. It's how well did you read the stinking chart. Because it doesn't matter whether you predicted the price or not. What matters is, did you read the chart properly? See, there's things you can control and there's things you can't control. What you can control is looking at the one-day chart and saying, okay, the 50-day moving average is currently 40% away from current price levels. The EMA is currently right above the current price levels, right on top of those wicks. The pattern that's currently forming currently has a support level of 4,725 Satoshis. You can also see there's a slight curve here, this little wedge here that forms, and that resistance level looks to be around 6,256 Satoshis, while the real resistance is right around 6,800 Satoshis. So it's about reading the chart properly. So it's not about actually predicting the price. So, oh, we're going to make some money. No, my trade alerts are alerts that I'm trading. They're alerts that I feel are good trades. They're alerts that I'm putting myself in a position. But here's what I don't want to surprise any of you guys, but I've made some bad trades before. What? Naeem? Naeem has made a bad trade? Yes, I've made a bad trade before. And it's every trader has made a bad trade. So it's not necessarily about who's going to get the trade right, because there's a lot of factors. It's not all technical. Matter of fact, most of it's emotional. The technical aspect works in a volatile market, though. Now, a lot of it is also fundamental, right? If there's news that Bitcoin is going to stop working, the blockchain's going to crash, I don't care if there's a cup and handle or a ascending triangle, it's probably going to go down. So, anyways, what do you guys think of that ascending, that little graph thing that I just showed you guys? Let me see. Somebody said, subs subscribed to your channel and turn on notifications. Thank you. That's awesome, man. Somebody said, I see you upgraded to the iPhone X. Edwin Jimenez. Thank you, brother. Yes. I didn't upgrade. I just lost my other phone. And I actually had a video with some miners that I was actually going to post a video of, because I'm going to get into mining soon. Maybe we'll talk about that in the Night Owl tonight. But yeah, so somebody said, refresh the page. I don't get it. Name, do you use KuCoin Exchange? I have not. I've made an account. I don't use it though, Julio Torres. I just make accounts just in case, because there are coins there that I may want to trade eventually. Sending you what's up. Signing up gold as well. Would like to discuss a sponsorship through my fund. Awesome, Doug. Yeah, definitely reach out to me, man. I've been getting a little bit better with my messages. I'm responding to most messages from now on, so you guys can always reach out to me on, you know, even my phone number. It's in the description, 321-593-5016 if you guys want to get in touch. Text me first. I don't like people abruptly call me. Somebody said, I saw that cup and handle a few days back. Thanks to you, I'm already subscribed to you. Awesome, RJ. Good to have you, man. So somebody said, what do you think about cloud mining? I've got a Genesis mining contract that I've had for like a while now, that I did a while back around October, and it starts in February, so I don't know much about it just yet. I just know I have it. I just bought it because my mentor told me, he said, Naeem, invest 10%, or feel free to invest 10% in stuff you don't understand as much of. So not that I don't understand mining, but you know, like, it's not necessarily something that I've delved really deep into the way I've delved into cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency I understand a lot. Like, I can consider myself somebody that I trust about cryptocurrency, but in terms of cloud mining, you know, like, there's a lot of fallacies to that, and there's not really much strategy. I mean, you're just putting money somewhere, and they're quote-unquote guaranteeing you these returns from these quote-unquote miners that are running, and you know, and there's lifetime contracts based upon how profitable it is, and if it's not profitable, then they cancel your contract. But they're the ones still mining, and they typically buy double the power, so they end up making double the profit. So they make tons of money if, you know, if they're truly mining it, which hopefully they are. I know Genesis mining, the reason I didn't mind doing it is because I saw videos of the actual place, you know, the factory. But even I'm sketchy of that, because when I was in the stock market, I invested in this one company called PHOT. Oh my gosh, ridiculous. It was a penny stock for marijuana, and they posted all of these warehouse pictures of their upcoming quote-unquote warehouse, and it was all fake. It was ridiculous, and I lost money. But anyways, somebody says, mining worth it? I met these guys from Venezuela. Now they're really good friends of mine. We had a great conversation together. They're mining about 2.5 Litecoin every month. They're probably averaging around $20,000 a month. It's a group of Venezuelans. In Venezuela, you don't have to pay for electricity because of the way things are done there. In the United States, it'll probably, at least where I live, it's about $72 to actually run the miner at the you know, the power levels that it runs, and then that will generate about 2.5 Litecoins, which at current price levels would be right around $400 to $600. So I think it's worth it in certain manners. If you can have a facility set up at a certain location with multiple miners set up, I think it could truly be a profitable way to make some passive income, which is 100% fully passive. So, you know, sooner or later, I am going to be working on some certain things, you know, getting into mining soon. So I'll let you guys know, but I will be setting up some mining rigs, and I believe I'm going to be doing some Litecoin mining rigs, because, you know, as much as I don't like the fact that, you know, Litecoin has some certain parts to it, I kind of like the fact that Litecoin has a lot of usage. That's the one thing about Litecoin. You can see the volume with Litecoin, 685 million, right? It's at $13 million market cap. NEM is at a $13 million market cap. I'm sorry, billion. And it's only at 43 million in volume in the 24 hours. So, I mean, 685 million at $3 billion market cap, I think that's a pretty stout number in my opinion. You can even see here, Stellar, 11 billion, only 117 million. So I like Litecoin. I don't have much wrong with Litecoin. I'm very familiar with Litecoin because when I was around with Bitcoin in the early stages, around the 2010, 2014 area, around that time frame, Litecoin was around, you know. Litecoin's been around there. So I'm very familiar with Litecoin, and I've never been opposed to it. You know, it's been around since Ethereum. So you can see here, prices have obviously seen this huge run up recently, but that's that. So Jake Baker said, I recently got into mining. I make about $2,000 a month on a $6,000 initial investment. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. That's good. So could you be ever so kind to recommend exit prices when you like a coin and how long you think it will take to reach exit? My exit prices can sometimes change because if we see a consolidation after a resistance pushback, then sometimes I'll be a little bit more bearish on the coin and I'll want to sell immediately with the profits that I currently have. So I think it's more of a preference. Sometimes I call it cutting the grass, right? If I have 10 coins and I'm swing trading and I have 15% profits with 3 coins, I'll cut the grass and cut those 15% profits out and put it towards new coins to add to my position or add to my portfolio new coins and assets. So it's all about asset allocation and risk management. Once again, we've talked about this before. So hopefully that can help. So yes. So we're going to go ahead and start heading over to our Genesis mining is not very profitable. Definitely look at BitConnector or Simply Mining. Somebody said that. Can you show us how to add the 50-day moving average and EMA on the chart? Exile Michael. Yes. Insert indicator. And then you go to favorites. I'm sorry, you don't go to favorites. I go to favorites. You have to type in 3 moving averages, and then you click that, and then just make sure you set up with the right things. And then for EMA, it's also called the moving average exponential. So that's also a synonymous word for it. So you can see these are all the indicators that I'm using right now. So subbed bought the can coin when you did. Somebody said they bought the can coin when I did. Well, look at that can coin. We're at 1678. We bought in at, let's see, 1688. So it's still around that same level, around 10 satoshis. So not bad. Somebody said, what does the cheese say when it makes a jump shot? I don't know. So let's take some requests, guys. Let's see here. Any requests that you guys want to see last minute? Let's go ahead and look at this really quick. I know we have a couple super chats here. We did vibe. Thank you, Jay, for the super chat. My man, can you look at ENJ? Do you think it's worth the hold? All right, let's do this. ENJ BTC. We'll do the 1 hour and see what we're finding here. Nice. So we saw this run up, but now we're back to these levels. It's almost like, well, what's the point of that if we're back here? But looks like we're going to see some support levels start to form. There are a lot of different support levels here. To just kind of drop the primary support levels, I would say this right now wouldn't be considered a support level in my opinion. I'm going to look at these levels that occurred back here. Looks like we broke support. To be honest with you, it looks like we're on the way down. We did have this huge buy volume and not much sell volume afterwards, which is also one good sign, but it looks like we're seeing many different spikes here, and it's another support level. We got another support level right here around 2,173 satoshis. Now these are a little bit less of a indicator in my opinion because they're not as consistent. Now looking at this overall pattern, if we were to draw this out, you can see here we're forming this descending pattern here. I would put that right around there. And what you can even do is stretch this one out right here, and then you can stretch this one out and then actually follow this whole trace. So looking at the current graph, let's go ahead and pull up a little bit of a closer graph. It looks like we're starting to go to the right a little bit, but obviously right now we're slipping, so we're still slipping down. I think in the short term we're starting to fall. If we pull up the Fibonacci here, maybe we can get, so if you guys want to learn something, you can actually do this for free. You click Fibonacci retracement here. It's the third one down, Fibonacci retracement, and then what you want to do is go to the top of a graph, right? And you have to go on top of the wicks. This is a really good way to see different levels here. So you go to the top of the wicks, and then you go to the bottom of the price level where it's at right now, and you can see here we're pretty much breaking that point. And if we were to even go back down around here, you can see we've just entered that level. And then if we go down to these levels, you can see it's almost that same thing. So I'd probably draw this out right over here, since you can see there was two clear support levels and then also correlated back here. So this looks to me like the most reliable level of support. So if we were to draw the Fibonacci here, then what you can find is now we're entering this red zone. So it doesn't look too good in my opinion. Now you said, is it worth the hold? The question is, where did you buy it, right? So are you at a profit currently? Because if not, it currently is pointed down. It's going down. Now how far is it going to go? It may bounce off of this Fibonacci. If it does, I don't think this is a bad area to buy, and it can continue to go up, but there's a slight possibility that it can go back down to these support levels. But I think with all of this buy volume, I think it can at least maintain this support level within this Fibonacci line, which is in red. So let's go ahead and see what other questions we have. Hopefully that helped out, Jay. Miguel Valencia said, I've been following CAN in the last few hours. Do you think it'll have a breakout? We already looked at CAN, brother. You can see right now, 1687. We purchased 1688, so still at the same exact level. Let's just give that a little bit of time to mature. We can even do the 1 minute here, see something a little bit closer. So that's good. We'll probably see positive volume in just a sec. Somebody said APPC. Let's pull up APPC. So we'll do APPC BTC. Oh, it doesn't look like it's there you go. APPC looks fairly well. Looks like there's some support levels right here around 15,988 satoshis. You can see it matched up to this hand, and then it matched up here. Saw a couple breaks down there. Looks like currently, if we look at the current pattern, we'll do like a 1 hour chart here, get a little bit of a different viewpoint. You can see that support level is a little bit clear here, but primarily following this trend horizontally. I would say just allow this to form its channel the way it is, because there's a clear channel here, and I would follow this channel with this coin right now. Instead of trying to draw out patterns, keep this one simple, because it's a little bit more stable and you can do that. And I would follow this channel for APPC. If it does break out of this level, you can always buy it breakout, or you can just swing trade this throughout the channel, because there's a little bit more volume starting to increase. As volume increases, things can start heading to the positive direction. If we pull up the 1 day to look at the 50-day moving average, let's see if there's any other. Nope, that's it. So yeah, I would say follow this channel. It's a simple graph. There's not much volatility, not much negative price movement. It's more horizontal. So volume looks good. RSI is healthy. I think this will pretty much bounce back and forth between this channel until we can start seeing some price action. So hopefully that's helped out. Somebody said, could you check out Gay Money, please? I've never heard of Gay Money. Gay Money. This is something else. Rank number 1,333. And it's only on Cryptopia, so that's not going to show up, unfortunately. But what is the Gay Money? Let's look at Gay Money real quick, guys. Gay Money is the first cryptocurrency built for the LGBT community by the LGBT community. Oh, okay. Nothing against that. It is what it is. So cool. Let's go ahead and move forward here. West Cows said, LMAO, damn. Vibe completely crashed since you looked. Let's go ahead and look at Vibe. Yeah, didn't we, what did we say about Vibe? So we're still at these levels. So we're still fine. We're still within this, this triangle, so that's cool. Shayla, bye-bye. So INS token listed on Binance 12 minutes ago. Thoughts? INS BTC 12 minutes ago. It's probably going to be a very short chart. Here's the thing. The Ripple developer talked about the coins that just get released to Binance, and you know, for those of you that are Sapphire patrons and you get that recording, you'll hear it. But for those of you that aren't, he pretty much talked about how when these coins just come on Binance, like the way they do, typically it's already pumped before. It's like pre-pumped, right? So it's almost like buying pre-pumped milk. So the milk is already pumped up, and by the time you get it, it's already 3 times what it's worth, and you're buying it at a steep amount of, you know, you're buying it at a high rate compared to what it's really worth. So, you know, that's something that he did talk quite extensively about yesterday. And, you know, he said he's seen a lot of instances where that's occurred. So that's what I would say about that question, or that token, even though it's not really pulling up, probably because there's a lot of volume to look at that coin right now, or maybe it's just not fully implemented in its trading view. But I would say be careful, Jake, about these coins that just right away come on, because typically these coins have already been pre-pumped prior to entering the exchange, because there's typically always individuals and institutions that know that these coins are going to be released on these exchanges, and they make their trades prior to set themselves up for success. So we're going to be heading over to our night owl, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in tonight. I know this was a little bit of a shorter one, but I think it was perfect timing, 1 hour and 35 minutes. All rubies and above tonight are going to be under Ruby Plus Night Owl. We're going to be discussing more uncensored content. We're going to be answering questions. If you guys, I highly implore you guys, if you guys are not Ruby Patreons, become a Ruby Patreon. Come out tonight, guys. I'd love to talk to you guys. I'd love to meet you guys. Get around a community. Don't just do this on your own. The one thing for me that hindered me in the beginning was doing this on my own. I really wanted to be a part of something. I wanted to be a part of a community because it gives you a lot more perspective. It's called collaborative intelligence. Collaborative intelligence is really what's going to allow you to gain perspectives and make true decisions that are based upon the actual facts. And not only that, it's decisions that are based upon a collaboration of individuals rather than one set single mindset, because there's always a great power in 2, and then if you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it even gets better. So more than one brain helps. Antonio said, somebody said, invaluable information and tools in your discussion. By the way, last night, Night Owl was epic. Keep up the good work. Look at that. Crypto4J. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, Jay. And then INS was just added to Binance. Can you take a look? Thanks, brother. Antonio, we just tried doing that. It just does not show up. So, unfortunately, we can't do that. When we do INS BTC, it doesn't pull up yet. And then for the Binance chart, I wouldn't be able to pull that up. But regardless, if you guys were at that Night Owl last night, then you guys know exactly what we heard, you know, from you know, the Ripple developer. He was talking about the coins that just get added to Binance and how, you know, it's extremely pumped up before it gets there. So you can see this coin right here just got added. If we do the, let's do the 1 minute here and see what the coin is looking like. You can see with this graph, it's probably not going to show, it just got added like 12 minutes ago. So, you know, there's not much of a technical analysis that I can do here. But anyways, that's the truth of the matter. That's the, you know, the information we got yesterday. So take care, guys. Somebody said LTC, please. I think I saw LTC a couple times. Let's just quickly look at it. LTC broke support levels, guys. However, I'm still a little bit bullish on it, being the fact that if you look here, it's really formed itself its own support level down here, right around 1.7 million Satoshis. If you look at the 1 day, and we kind of talked about this before, but the 1 day chart shows you that based on this 50-day moving average, we bounced right on top of that, and we're following exactly in the footsteps of that. So currently right around 13% higher than that, which isn't bad compared to back here where we saw the initial run up. You can even just calculate it from this point. So when we saw this initial run up, we were about 90% higher. And what's cool is, you know, for our trade alerts, we had that pennant form and we broke out of that pennant. So once again, now that we've broken out of that pennant, we're seeing that minor consolidation, but that could eventually go up. So based on this 1 day chart, I'm pretty optimistic about Litecoin, being the fact that we've already bounced off of that 50-day. That's almost like this recharge point. You know, it gives it a little bit of a refresher, a breath of fresh air, and it helps the coin. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Our Ruby Plus Night Owl will start at 2 2:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 2:12 right now, so in about 8 minutes, I'll come in here and we'll start our night owl. So all rubies and above. We already got a ton of people already coming out there, so I can't wait to see all of you guys. For those of you that aren't rubies and above, we're actually going to have a ton of people down here in the Rick 2 pond. This is the Ripple developer. He may come out tonight. I know he said that he was going to do something today. So if you guys want to come out and visit this one, you guys are more than welcome to hang out there. And we have tons of other places on our Discord for you guys to sit, chat, and hang around, whether you're Ruby or not. So G Gulliver said, how do you become a patron paying with crypto? I don't think they accept crypto, man, to be quite frank with you. You know, Ryan Kuhn, see you tonight, Mr. Ryan. New Ruby. Jake Baker, see you tonight, brother. Doug J, you're going to be getting those trade alerts. Alexandros Hatzoglidis just became a new Sapphire, so you'll be getting the recordings and everything else. So Pedro said, how do I get into Ruby chat? Connect your Patreon to your Discord. So go to contribute Patreon here and then click this link, how to attach Patreon to Discord. Give it about 3 to 10 minutes to update your role. That's why we'll start at 2:20. It'll automatically give you this red name. You can see we've got 95 Ruby Patrons here, and then you guys are going to be able to access this chat under Patreon exclusive and just click Ruby Plus. Make sure you turn on your push to talk. So on voice and video, click push to talk. So hopefully that helps out. You guys will figure it out. I believe in you. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna say bye to some of you guys. Take care, Ryan. Take care, Vicky. You're very welcome. Take care, Daniel, Steven, Sith, Thomas, Julio Torres in the house, James Gus, Thomas Jameson, Alberto, Clark, Edwin. INS going up too fast. Watch it crash. Yep. Joshua Steven, Regsaw, Thomas Jameson, Gay Gulliver, Levias. Take care, guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Miss Vital Survival, thank you so much for tuning in. Somebody said, I miss you already. Awesome channel. Thank you, Pavlo. Appreciate that. Take care, guys. Ryan S. Miss Vital said, no real product. Dang, man. She got you there. Take care, Legend. Deuces. Clark. Take care, Burbank. Take care, mate. I might go to Yorkshire soon, brother. No problem, Josiah. Take care, brother. Take care, Pete. Have a good one. All right, Joshua. Thank you, man. Take care, Levias. You're welcome, Pavlo. All right, Mr. Ziegel. You know there's a billionaire called Mr. Siegel. No problem, Good Gilliber. Take care, Claude. Good to have you. Mahmed. Good to have you here, man. Peggy Johnson. Got here late. That's fine, Peggy. You're good. That's why we started this new style where we're doing all the coins in the beginning. So, no problem, Azam. Take care. Peace out, man. Take care, Darkfinity. Ashanti, Julio. Late crypto lovers. Yep. No problem, Jake. All right, guys. Snipers. Turbud said, thanks, mate. We are learning a lot. I'm glad you are. See you guys on Discord tonight. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you all tomorrow on tomorrow's live stream. Hopefully we can see some breakouts and catch some new breakouts tomorrow. And you know we'll be updating that on Patreon for sure as well. So, Snipers out.